Hey everyone, and welcome to Joe's Light Bites. Everybody loves a good potato chip, but you know, they're really not that good for you. This week, I'm going to be showing you how to make Fiesta lime kale chips, and by the time we're done, you're not going to want that basic potato chip anymore. Let's get started. To make our kale chips, you're obviously going to need some kale, some olive oil, salt, pepper, and Mrs. Dash Fiesta lime seasoning. Mrs. Dash is salt-free, so you really get to control how much salt you're actually putting in your kale chips. The first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees and line a cookie sheet with tin foil. For video purposes, I'm only using about a half a bag of that kale that you saw in the previous clip, but all of the measurements will be in the description box below. But what you want to do is, even if you're not using a packaged kale, is obviously wash the kale before, and then remove any of these really extreme stems that the kale has. These are known as the ribs. So you're just going to want to do that. Okay, so I'm just about done removing the ribs from the kale. So now we're going to season it. So first you want to put your olive oil and drizzle it over the top. The Fiesta lime seasoning. And just a pinch of salt. Lastly, if you want some pepper, you could add pepper. So now with using clean hands, just massage the oils into the kale. And you want your kale to be lightly oiled, just so it gets a little bit extra crispy, and you obviously don't want all the seasoning on one chip. So I'm just about done massaging the oil into the kale. You could taste chip as they aren't a chip yet. If you want to see if you want to add any more salt or pepper or even seasoning depending on how much Fiesta lime you want. So taste that, it's going to be soggy. And then you're going to line it on a cookie sheet. I lined the kale on the cookie sheet and I'm going to pop it in the oven that was already preheated to 375 degrees for about 8 minutes, and at the 4-minute mark I'm going to just rotate the pan and then let it cook for another 4 minutes. The Fiesta lime kale chips just came out of the oven. Depending on your oven, they may take longer or shorter. Usually 8 minutes is the amount of time, but they could take 10 minutes. Just make sure they do not burn. What you're left with is an incredibly crunchy potato chip alternative. Just beware that they do shrink. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week on Joe's Light Bites.